Rosh Hashanah, that tzaddikim nechtavim v'nechtamim la'altar. That tzaddik gets signed and sealed right away. A beinini, halavai beinini, nechtavim b'Rosh Hashanah, v'nechtamim b'Yom Kippur. So to say l'shana tova tikaseh v'sechasim, you actually believe your friend is a tzaddik. And let's all. Well, that is the common minig that's brought in the Siddur, the Machzor that does not say in the Shulchan Aruch. All right, you come home, and then starts all the fun and games with all the specialty items of the night of Rosh Hashanah. First of all, I would like to quote to you something that you should be aware. Rosh Hashanah, from one side, it's Yomim Neiroim, days of awe, days of fear. Maybe you should fast. Who knows what's going on? But I'm going to read you a statement that Alter Rebbe says in Shulchan Aruch, just to show you what the meal should look like. When the Alter Rebbe discusses all the different simanim you bring, and I'll talk about that soon, the Alter Rebbe says, "V'noyagim lecho basar shamein." You should also have good steak. For those who don't know how to make roast, I know somebody that make a good roast. V'lishtois dvash, and drink good drinks. V'chol minim mesika, all sweets. Kedei shetehei hashana azois mesuka ushmeina. So this year should be sweet and fatty. V'chein kasuv be'ezra, as it says in Ezra. Ichlu mashmanim u'shasu mamtakim. Now there's a whole long drasha you could give here. It doesn't say in Ezra, it says in the Chemya. And since when does the Alter Rebbe say v'chein kasuv be'ezra? So I know somebody that wrote a whole shir about this, but it's not for now. So our outlook on the meal of Rosh Hashanah is not I know when Rabbi Bekarsky mentioned that we were in Sydney. I don't know, everything's being recorded. I still remember this 28 years ago that we were invited out as Bachrim to go, we finished saying till whatever. We invited out to somebody's house. I don't know if you were. We invited out to somebody's house. We came back. We got a knas. What is this Rosh Hashanah? You go to somebody's house to eat. No, but at the same time, Rosh Hashanah is a festive meal. It's not a hot dogs and egg rolls. It's a festive meal. It's a yontiv meal, and that's how it should be. So, what's the specialty of the day? We start doing the interesting, the additional things is the honey, the apple dipped in honey, the challah dipped in honey. So there's the obvious question: Vasep is honey. If you want to have sweet, why don't you use sugar, or, cinnamon, or whatever else? Chocolate. I don't know what you want to use. It's all based on the Gemara. The Gemara says simana milsahi, that we take symbolic things. It shows on something, and we want everything. We want our forthcoming year to be a sweet year. But why honey? So I'll tell you some background. In Remez, it's a lesson in life. Honey is dvash. Dvash is dai b'meh sheyesh. Everybody should be happy with what he has. If a person is happy with what he has, he is a rich man. And honey, the Gemara says that if anything that falls into honey for long enough, it changes mar mimasik. It could be the most bitter thing that gets stuck in honey will become sweet. And actually, honey comes from a bee, which a bee is not kosher. That symbolizes all our work on Rosh Hashanah. That even if chas v'shalom we fall, and we should know, you could be like the bee that could produce honey. You could change to a sweet, and all be good. And another gematria that's brought, devash, is a gematria. This one you didn't know, of harachaman. So we dip everything into honey, starting with the challah. Now, exactly how we do it, meaning to say, if you only have honey, or you have salt also, I'll let the senior people discuss this, and because from one hand we know the Shulchan Aruch says al kol korban chatakiv melach, if salt should be there, salt should not be there. If Rabbi Hilchos did both, I think the Rebbe didn't do salt. The Rebbe only did. Okay, what are you humming? When I said senior. All right. After we wash, and we make the amoitzi in dvash. That's when we take the tapuach. Now the tapuach actually says a sweet apple. So if you look, it says a sweet apple, and just like this drushes, why we use honey and not sugar cane or whatever, there's many beautiful drushes why we use apples and not apricots or whatever else. But stay tapuchim, gansne kabbalistic, but let's stick to the point. So you take an apple, a sweet apple, and you dip it into honey. Even this is a complicated halacha. Why is this a complicated halacha? In many ways. First of all, you're soon going to eat the simanim. Amongst the simanim is a rimoin. A rimoin is a pomegranate. A rimoinim are from the shiva saminim. An apple is not one of the shiva saminim. And we know that usually if you have from the shiva saminim at the table, you should make a bracha on the shiva saminim, on the rimoin. And yet, we do the apple, we sort of push aside our some that actually made sure that the rimoin should not be on the table when you have when you're making the bracha on the apple, not to have this problem. But I don't know if everybody's makbid. It's actually because there is a special minig tonight to deal with a tapuach masuk b'davash, that overrides the fact that you're going to have a shiva saminim here. That's number one, huh? Chaviv. Chaviv and shiva saminim is not clear.
It's not clear.
All right. Another thing. And you look in the machzer, so we're gonna wash. We'll dip the challah in the dvash. Oh yeah, I'm going way too late. We'll dip the challah in the dvash, challah and honey, and then before we start eating the fish, whatever your menu is, you're going to have b'tchila sasuda. You're going to have the apple. Now you're going to make a bracha on the apple because the apple is not part of the meal. And if you know how it should be done usually during the year, if you're going to insert any prayer, you can't make a hefsek between the bracha and the eating of the apple. This is one of the only times where you're mafsik after making a bracha and you say the hi ratzon. Even shechiyonu sometimes is complicated how it should be done. So again, this is unique. We take it for granted because we do it every year. The halachas as we do tonight, Rosh Hashanah night, does not necessarily apply in so many different ways. If you would eat the same order of food on a regular Tuesday, a lot of halachas would be different. Our minig is to do the simanim the first night only. I know many other places, they do the simanim v'ensalasach, the first night, the next day, second night, but our minig is only to do it once. I saw it's brought in Achrayim, somebody who doesn't can't eat this simanim or whatever reason, at least have it on the table. Now when I saw that, I thought to myself, our minig is l'poel not to eat everything that says in Shulchan Aruch. We don't find that the Lubavitchers ate all the things, even though Beis Yaakov over here does sell, I think, a tray with everything. And I'm thinking to myself, even if you don't eating it, from one hand it's Baal Tashchis, because you're not going to eat it. From the other hand, it actually says in Achrayim, at least even if you're not going to eat it, have it on the table because it's symbolic. Okay. All right. It says that in the first night, there's another problem here. Because you're going to eat a rimoin. I don't know when a rimoin is a pomegranate. When was the last time you ate a rimoin? I don't know when. So if you're going to eat a rimoin, Tu B'Shvat. So if you're going to eat a rimoin, you should really have to make a shechiyanu. How could you make a shechiyanu? When are you going to make the shechiyanu? So it says, the Rebbe, when he ate the rimoin, the simonim on the night of Rosh Hashanah, he did not make a shechiyanu, and his explanation was that I had it in mind when I made kiddush. When I said kiddush and I said shechiyanu, I had the kiddush of the shechiyanu kiddush also in mind the shechiyanu of the rimoin. Because if not, you would have to make a shechiyanu on the rimoin. The pashtus it should be on the table.
Do women have the same thing when they light candles?
It should be on the table.
Yeah. The second night,
Right. All right. Let's move on. All right. That night you ate well. You said Tehillim once, said Tehillim twice. signed and sealed for a good year. What happens next morning? Next morning is everybody's preparing to go to shul, and over here it's early, bright and early, everybody's going to shul. What time is it, 8:30? I think it's 8:30, right? Here?
Yeah, it's 8:30.
All right. So, the one halacha you have to know in the morning is the complicated discussion, may you eat, drink before Tekiyah Shofar. So let me just tell you what the discussion is. Actually, in Shulchan Aruch and Hilchos Shofar, it doesn't speak about it. It says in Hilchos Megillah. It says in Hilchos Megillah, that's where the discussion is. Every time you have a mitzvah, and that's a new mitzvah, what are you sitting and eating rib steak now? You got to get the mitzvah done first, and you'll be excited about the mitzvah, and once the mitzvah is over, then you can sit down and eat. That's a general concept. Whenever time of a new mitzvah comes, you have to take care of the mitzvah first. Now, in Hilchos Megillah it says, therefore, don't eat a full meal don't eat something substantial, I shouldn't say even something substantial, until you get the Megillah done. You'll do next week, huh? Until you get the Megillah done. Now, make a cheshbon. Rabbi, make a cheshbon. Megillah is a din de Rabbanan. Even though it's only the Rabbanan, you say, be careful, don't eat, because you got to get the mitzvah done. Tekiyah Shofar is a mitzvah d'oraisa. How much more should it apply? All right, so do you have to fast? No. So let's be realistic. Be realistic. Shofar here is what, about 11 o'clock, 11:30 by us here? For those who need a drink, those who need a cup of coffee, those who definitely, there runs another problem. If you're going to learn the Sfarim, they mix up issues a little, unless you stay focused. They start throwing questions about Kiddush. How could you eat if you didn't hear Kiddush? That only happens after you daven Shachris. That's because many other customs, they have a break after, many other communities, they have a break after Shachris, and everybody goes and relaxes. Actually, I saw a new reason I never knew before. Why do people have a break after Shachris before Shofar? Men go to the mikveh. And another reason is, the Ramban says you're not allowed to daven longer than 3 hours straight. So he wants you to, they want you to break, they want you to make a break. Either way, long story short, if you must have a drink, remember, the most important thing is get the mitzvah done. If you feel that you're not going to hear the shofar too much later, then I'll invite somebody to blow the shofar for you early. There's no legal halachic, I can't say, there's no clear legal halachic right that somebody should hear the shofar 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock afternoon, knowing that he's going to hear it only 4 o'clock and 5 o'clock afternoon and eat all day till then, or eat a lot till then. If you have to drink or have to eat something and you know you're going to hear 11 o'clock or whatever, fine. But if it's going to pass a long time, you're going to do a lot of eating, you should actually invite somebody to blow the shofar early morning. So like this, you get this covered. Now what happens if you come to shul? Some people come to shul late. I don't know. Some people come to shul late. And you come to shul late and the chazan is already starting. I don't mean the chazan v'shachris. He doesn't care if he has a crowd. I mean the Baal Tekiyah already said the bracha. He's in the middle of the bracha. He's in the middle of the tekiyas. You came after these tekiyas. So again, I'm being pinched to get off, but this I actually believe is a very important halacha to be discussed. So I'll have to do it some other time maybe. But women that come late, bachram that come late, and the Baal Tekiyah is in the middle of the tekiyas, could you make the bracha before the next set that you're going to hear in Shemoneh Esrei, and that should be fine enough? Those are all halachas that are very important. So why plan B? Why don't we just do plan A? What time is Tekiyas, Rabbi Zalman? 11:30. That's, wow. Give or take an hour. Let's say 11:30. Make sure you hear 11:30, so when Rabbi Grossbaum starts the bracha, you hear his brachas and you hear all his tekiyas. Because if you're coming in the middle of his bracha, middle of the tekiyah, it's many complications of how, because you need a bracha and you need all the tekiyas, preferably. Yeah, there's plan B, but try to have that done. Is everybody in the family obligated to hear Tkiyas. So, min hadin, it's a mitzvah to say shazman garamba, and only men are chayiv and women are not. But the women were so kind and they're so tmimis, they took upon themselves this as a chiyuv. So women have to hear the Tkiyas shofar. Katan or katana, a young boy or young girl, actually there's a difference. If it's a young boy or young girl, a young boy is more of a chumrah than a young girl, as it's discussed in the halacha. Once you heard the shofar, unless you're going a mivtzayim and you have a reason to carry the shofar, there's no reason to, you play music. You can't practice the tune if you want to play a tune on the shofar, because on Yontif you're not allowed to play an instrument. If you're not allowed to play an instrument, it is kli zemer. It might even be muktzah. So if you're going to Tashlich because you believe that you might find what's the temple there that comes there, and you're going to blow shofar, fine. Stamazai, just because you want to practice, you're not allowed to. You shouldn't go through this. Okay, now Baisai, I'm telling you that there's a lot more details about these halachas, but let me just finish off with two things. What happens if somebody can't make it to shul? He can't make it to shul at all, and he has to hear, or he can't make the shul. He's davening himself. Does he have to blow the shofar in Shemoneh Esrei also? That's discussed in Shulchan Aruch. Are you allowed to make a hefsek? The best custom is, and this the Rebbe himself changed his hanhaga. Once Rabbi Grossman says the bracha, you're supposed to have kavanah. Incidentally, it says you're supposed to have kavanah that you're listening to the shofar, and if not, for all you know, you heard somebody playing fiddle, and it wasn't a mitzvah. You're supposed to be quiet until the mitzvah is done, complete. So the question is, when is the completion of the mitzvah? Is it by the end of the Shemoneh Esrei, by the Kaddish, or by even add the ones after Tilim? In the earlier years, the Rebbe was quiet even till after Tilim. The later years, okay, they said the Rebbe himself changed that he came down for Birchas Kohanim and he said Yasher Koyach to the Kohen, but at least till after Kaddish, you have to, because that's what the bracha is covering. Okay, I have to give Rabbi Bukowski some time, if not, it's going to be Tzar Ba'al Chaim. So,
When do we ask about pickles and stuff?
pickles? Whoa, that's an easy one. If it's not too bitter, it's not too sour. Okay, anyways, everybody should have a good gebencht yor, a ksivach simetova, and the last Rosh Hashanah is Toshin Ayin Ches, Tehei Shnas Eis Chenena, Kivo Moed. The Eibush should give us.
Aim for the answer to that pickle question.
Okay.
Okay, how about